Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Blackstar and watched the stars through the massive view screen. The ship was quiet except for the soft hum of the engines. 300 human crew members worked at their stations doing their jobs like they had done every day for the past 2 years. The Blackstar was different from other ships in the galaxy. It was bigger, darker, and built with secrets that most aliens would never understand. For 30 years, humans had worked in hidden shipyards, taking pieces of alien technology and making them better. They learned from every species they met. The tall Zaharians taught them about strong metal. The smart Nexari showed them about computers. The strange Voidkin helped them understand energy. But the aliens never thought humans were important. They saw humans as workers, not warriors. Humans fixed their machines, dug in their mines, and built their cities. The galaxy was happy to let humans do the boring work, while the real species handled the important things like politics and war. Jake Morrison was 42 years old and had spent 20 years in space. He had brown hair that was getting gray at the sides and blue eyes that had seen too much. His crew trusted him because he always kept them safe. The aliens respected him because he was polite and never caused trouble. But Jake Morrison had secrets, just like his ship Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter sat at the tactical station. She was 35 years old, with short black hair and quick hands that could work any weapon system ever built. Lisa had been with Jake for 10 years. She understood what the Blackstar could really do. The ship looked like a normal military vessel from the outside, but inside it was something the galaxy had never seen. Before the peaceful morning ended, when Lisa's station started beeping, she looked at her screens and her face went pale. "Captain," she said in a quiet voice, "I'm getting distress signals from New Haven Colony." Jake walked over to her station. New Haven was a human colony with 50,000 people. Families lived there. Children played in the streets. It was supposed to be safe. What kind of distress signal? Lisa's fingers moved quickly across her controls. The main screen changed to show recorded messages from New Haven. The first message showed a woman with blood on her face behind her buildings were burning. "This is New Haven Colony. We are under attack. Unknown ships are bombing our cities. Send help." Immediately, the second message was worse. A man was screaming into the camera. "They're landing troops. They're taking prisoners. The defense grid is down. Please, someone help us." The message ended with the sound of energy weapons firing. Jake felt something cold in his stomach. How many ships attacked them? At least 50. Captain Big Ones. The attack signatures match Scar military vessels. The Skarn were a species that looked like giant lizards. They stood 8 ft tall and had scales instead of skin. They believed that strong species should rule weak ones. They had been expanding their territory for years, taking planets from anyone who could not fight back. The Galactic Coalition usually stopped them. But this time was different. Commander Rick Hayes, the chief engineer, came onto the bridge. He was a thin man with smart eyes and hands that were always dirty from working on machines. "Captain, I'm also getting signals from Aurora Prime. Same thing. Skarn ships bombing ground troops. 2 human colonies attacked on the same day. This was not random. This was planned." Jake knew that the Skarn were testing something. They wanted to see if anyone would defend the humans. "Sir," Lisa said, "I'm getting a transmission from Coalition headquarters." The screen changed to show Admiral Frank Butler. He was the highest-ranking human in the Coalition military. Frank was 60 years old, with gray hair and a tired face behind him. Jake could see alien officers talking in groups. "Jake, you're getting the distress signals, aren't you?" "Yes, sir. What are our orders?" Frank looked around at the aliens behind him. "The Coalition Council is meeting now. The Nexari want to try diplomacy first. The Zephyrians say their fleets are too far away to help. The Voidkin are doing whatever it is they do when they don't want to make decisions." Jake felt anger building in his chest. "Sir, there are 100,000 human civilians on those colonies. They need help now, not next week." "I know, Jake. I've been arguing for 3 hours, but the council hasn't authorized military action. Yet they want to send a diplomatic message to the Skarn first. Lisa looked at her captain. She could see the anger in his eyes. The same anger she felt, the same anger that every human felt when they realized the truth. The galaxy didn't care about human lives. They cared about politics and rules and keeping everyone happy, but they didn't care about human children being killed by lizard monsters. Jake made a decision that would change everything. He walked to the center of the bridge and looked at his crew. Every person there was human. Every person there had joined the coalition military to protect their people. Every person there had been told to wait while their families died. Admiral Butler. Jake said, in a clear voice, "Please inform the Coalition Council that humanity withdraws from the Galactic Coalition, effective immediately." Frank's eyes went wide. "Jake, you can't do that. You don't have the authority. I have the authority to protect human lives. And that's what I'm going to do." Jake turned to his crew, "All hands. This is the captain. We are leaving Coalition space. We are going to save our people. Anyone who wants to transfer off this ship can do so now, but anyone who stays is going to war." Not one person moved to leave. Jake turned to the pilot lieutenant. Susan Parker was 28 years old and could fly anything that moved through space. She had blonde hair and green eyes and had never lost a race or a fight. Susan set course for Scar. "In space, maximum speed." "Yes, sir. How many ships are we bringing?" Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had been pushed too far. "Just us." The Blackstar turned away from Coalition space and jumped into hyperspace behind them. The aliens continued to debate and discuss and argue about the proper way to handle the situation ahead of them. The Scar military was about to learn something important about humans. They were about to learn what happened when you hurt a human's family. The war was about to begin. The USS Blackstar dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Scar home system. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge and looked at what waited for them. His tactical officer, Lisa Carter, counted the enemy ships on her screen. "Captain, I'm reading 212 Scar vessels. They're arranged in battle formation around their biggest ship." Lisa's voice was steady, but Jake could hear the worry underneath. "That big one is the World Render. It's their flagship. Never been beaten in a fight." Jake nodded. The World Render was 3 times the size of the Blackstar. It had enough weapons to destroy a small moon around it. Dozens of smaller warships moved in perfect patterns. The Skarn had built this fleet to attack more human colonies. They planned to wipe out every human settlement in this part of the galaxy. Commander Rick Hayes came onto the bridge. His hands were covered in grease, and his uniform had burn marks on it. For the past 3 days he had been working on the ship's systems. "Without sleep, Captain. The modifications are ready." Jake looked at his chief engineer. Rick was the smartest man he had ever met. If Rick said the modifications were ready, then they were ready. But Jake still worried what they were about to try had never been done before. "Tell me about the changes." Rick wiped his hands on a cloth and pointed to a display screen. "The reactor core is running at 150% normal power. That should give us enough energy for what we need to do. The weapon systems are connected to our mining equipment. Instead of digging through rock, we'll be digging through Skarn armor." "What about the shields? That's the interesting part. We don't have shields anymore. We have something better." Rick smiled like a man who had just solved an impossible puzzle. "We have a gravitational field generator. It bends space around our ship. Energy weapons will curve away from us. Physical projectiles will miss us completely." Lieutenant Susan Parker, the ship's pilot, listened to every word. She was young, but she understood what Rick was saying. The Blackstar had become something new, something that had never existed before in the galaxy. "How fast can we move with these changes?" Susan asked. "Faster than anything our size should. Be able to move. The gravitational field reduces our mass. We can turn like a fighter but hit like a battleship." Jake looked at his crew. Every person on the bridge was human. Every person understood what they were about to do. They were going to fight 200 ships with one ship. Most people would call that suicide. Humans called it Tuesday. Lisa opened a channel. To the Scar Fleet. The main screen changed to show a Scar commander. He was 8F tall with dark green scales and yellow eyes. His teeth were sharp and his claws were long. He looked like something from a human nightmare. I am Warra Skarks of the Hegemony Fleet. You are one small human ship. You will surrender now or be destroyed. Jake stepped forward so the Skarn could see him clearly. I am Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Blackstar. You attacked human colonies. You killed human families. You took human prisoners. That was a mistake. Skarks laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. One ship against my entire fleet. You humans are even more stupid than we thought. You're about to learn something about humans, Jake said. We don't know when to quit. Jake cut the transmission and turned to his crew. Susan, take us in. Lisa, prepare all weapons. Rick, give me everything the ship has. The Blackstar moved forward into the Scar formation. The enemy ships opened fire immediately. Hundreds of energy beams and plasma bolts flew toward the human ship. The crew held their breath and waited for the impact.